All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me in this part 8 of my build series. This is going to be a great quick update episode of the work we completed on the AMT cab conversion from the way they come out of the box to the way it's going to resemble our prototype we're copying down in that runs around down in Austin, Texas. Before we start, let me begin by thanking the following people. I got a few more subscribers, and I want to take the time for my day here to thank Pat Holsworth. Pat, thank you for joining me and subscribing to this channel. Check it out and have fun. Please feel free to comment any way you want at any time. We'd love to hear from you. Also, Mark's Model Junkyard. I want to thank Mark's Model Junkyard for subscribing to my channel. Mark, welcome aboard also. Check it out. Enjoy it if you can. Maybe you might pick up a couple hints here and there from what problems I'm running across with these guys. I want to send a huge shout out, a huge thank you to Miss Flatbed Red. Miss Flatbed Red, who graciously took the time from her busy day to give me the okay to use shots from her video, which we're going to do right now in a little bit. The shots of her video, it's a brand new Freightliner. It's a front head-on shot. It's freaking perfect. It covers every little detail and sheet metal panel and other details you could have ever imagined. And I'll show you guys right now when we check it out. But that was crucial as far as what I'm doing here and in terms of what does the sheet metal do at different portions. Sheet metal panels on this guy, if you can tell, sit higher in some areas and lower in others. There's a step there. And also when we had that diagonal row of rivets, which is right here represented on the AMT cab, when I got rid of those, there was a third step that was even higher here. All this portion up here was raised 2 steps higher than this in terms of sheet metal. So we sanded it all down, we corrected it. As you can see, we cut out the dual headlight housing. We put styrene plugs to fit the opening. They fit nice and tight, so we would have to do very little putty fill work. Also, what we did on this guy here, if you can see in this shot, I filled in the step box. There was an opening here where you would put a little box of styrene AMT provides under sprues, and that's where the driver sticks his foot in and get in and out of the cab. Our prototype down in Texas does not have it. It's all filled in, so we did that here. I also took out the roundness of this bottom edge here. If you look at your model, when they come out of AMT, they're completely round, and that would be incorrect for our prototype down in Texas. So we took the roundness out of that with a simple sanding stick. Another big feature I want to cover with you guys. You guys remember our AMT wheel well openings should come out here. The radius of the curve should come all the way out here to the very corner. But AMT didn't do that. When they got to about right here, what AMT did is they dropped straight down. And when you mount your wheels and your cab on your frame and you're ready to go, you're going to start seeing that the front wheel looks like it's either going to hit, or it does slightly hit, or always give the appearance, even if it's parked, not doing anything, that it's going to hit this sheet metal work, because this was not correct. We went ahead, opened up our wheel well corner though the way it should be. We did it on both sides, and the results are great. When I put the tire to that, it just looks so much better. Real quick, on the other side of our AMT custom cab is on our AMT. Once again, this bottom corner here, as you get it out of the box from AMT, this is curved, and that would be, it looks silly. So I took some of that curvedness out with a regular sanding stick, no big deal. I also corrected on the other side the wheel well opening, at least that corner we talked about, where the radius continues all the way down to the very corner. And then something I did here is the AMT kit out of the box comes with that big giant window opening for your blind spots, driver blind spots. We had to plug that in with a styrene plug, cut, measured to fit in tightly, and then we sanded and filled in little imperfections. So it looks a lot better. it definitely does not look like the way they come out of the box anymore. So, long-winded explanation, I know, but it's information. It's important if you've always been curious. I'm like you guys. I've always heard throughout the years about the AMT cab forward and its cab over. You see, I keep calling it a cab forward because that's my railroad days. Remember the Southern Pacific cab forwards, which Southern Pacific was my favorite railroad next to Santa Fe, and the cab forward steam engine. I like it better than the big boy. But anyways, it's not a cab forward, it's a cab over. So I had to wipe out some rivet detail, unfortunately, when I had to sand this plane across. But we're going to replace that here in the next few days, and I'm going to film it and show you guys how to do that. It's no big deal. As a matter of fact, you can use store-bought rivets to replace my rivet pattern that I lost. That would go about right here and right here. In other words, these two. Or I can use a styrene rod, tiny little styrene rod, where you will cut little tiny slices off of that, like pepperoni. Like if you're gonna make a pepperoni pizza. Look at that, I just cut myself. Jeez. I didn't even feel that. But you cut out little tiny, like coin size of that little rod, and you glue them in place, and that could be your rivet pattern. The two rods I tend to use, it could either be evergreen plastic or it could be what's the name of the other company? But any plastic struck. These are the ones I use. So item number or part number on the shelf is 218 and 219. This .20 rod, .020 20 rod, .025 rod, or 50 millimeter, 64 millimeter, made by Plastic Struck. I just bought these the other day, so that's what the price was when I bought them. I don't know if it's gone up, probably, or down, but Plastic Struck also makes the same product, and you can tell Plastic Struck from their packaging and stuff. That's not the one, but I just wanted to show you the label because I'm a huge fan of the Plastic Struck company. Another technique for making rivets, and I know all you guys know about this, but this was suggested to me here on one of my episodes way back when from Paul Hill's Classics. Paul Hill's Classics. I want to personally thank him for passing along the tip of running down to Michael's, buy yourself a bunch of these pins, push pins or pins. They come in different sizes in terms of length, width, and pin head size. So you want to stick to the smaller pin head size, kind of like this. And what you do is you cut that head off and glue them in, or you cut this to about that length there, leave the wire still there, and drill little tiny holes where you can just insert this and glue it in place. Anyways, I'm going to use all three of those techniques plus others. There's different size rivets throughout the Freightliner cab over section. And we're going to play around, experiment, and have fun with all of them. And I'm going to film that episode, especially when we get to the seam and the top of the roof line. That'll be fun, and we're going to eliminate that fear and the urban myth of the Freightliner cab over kits from AMT being, a piece of junk or not worth. As you can see from my channel, we have gotten over the AMT sprue non-numbering the parts on their sprue issue. We have gotten over the poorly written AMT instruction sheet, or what I call suggestion sheet. And if the part is too vague or just a blob of plastic, then by all means go ahead and make a new part. Do all that in your cab your AMT models are going to start coming out fantastic because you built it to your standards. Anyways, I asked Miss Flatbed Red if I can use portions of her video, and she said absolutely. So I'm going to share that with you guys today. We're going to kill some lights. Alrighty. This video was indispensable. Tom, this is what I use in terms of what we talked about the other day, in terms of you pretty much were right in what you told me I was going to have to do in order to backdate this cab. And you were spot on dead right. All the steps you mentioned and all the processes I was going to have to do, I had to do. And in order to visually check out what I needed to do, I found this video from Miss Flatbed Red here. And there's all our rivet detail. This is the same cab of our prototype down in Texas. This is Michael Landon's. He's got a consolidated Freightways white Freightliner cab over, a day cab version. He's restored it. She's beautiful, but it's got the ribbon pattern and the sheet metal patterns. And there's Dave Parsley's styrene windshield wipers, which I'm going to use. There's B&R's little points for where it swivels. Here's our length or our long horizontal. No, horizontal's right here. Anyways, there's your rivet pattern. You no longer have the V, at least on the one we're going to copy. We got rid of that. I never looked at these Freightliner emblems up over the front of the radiator there, but that's basically see-through screen with this aluminum, probably metal work with the white Freightliner label on there. But I never knew it was sheet metal see-through, and it's very basic sheet metal. And the opening in back is not like our opening from AMT. Ours comes all the way down to here. This opening is only from here to here. And there's some sheet metal here that I'm going to have to add to our AMT one. So just stuff like that. It just goes on and on and on. There's those front headlights. I'm about to lose that, but pretty basic stuff. I actually got detailed close-up shots of the headlight opening and stuff, so I'll be able to model it exactly like they are on the real deal. But any help you could give me, like always, my friend, is absolutely appreciated, not only by me, but everyone here who watches this, who's watching this build. Because Miss Flatbed Red was so gracious in allowing us to use her video, I'm going to go ahead and take it to the beginning. I'll show you the beginning of her YouTube channel. Just give her a big, huge shout out. Miss Flatbed Red. Not only is she an artist, but apparently she's going to become a professional driver here. Or has become. Check out Miss Flatbed Red's YouTube channel. And thank you. We all really appreciate that. So pretty much, let's get our show on the road here. I'm going to show you some quick videos. Not only am I just talking that this is what I did, I'm going to show you guys, because I made it a point to have my tripod handy. I'm going to actually show you guys the steps I took and how it looked. You guys keep checking that out while I bring up the videos. Okay, so I sat out in the morning with my cup of coffee and my breakfast. I had YouTube playing in the background. And very, very basic stuff here. Um, as I'm drinking coffee, and I used a bright early morning sunlight that comes up in the morning at a sharp angle just so it could help me out with shadows and stuff. And that combined with my reading glasses. So like everything, it's going to look like crap. And you're going to think, what did I do? Did I just ruin my kit? Nah. The first steps always come out kind of rough looking. You clean up, just keep filing, cleaning, filing, cleaning. Believe it or not, once you get the main stuff off, the rest of that filing is actually pretty easy and pretty enjoyable. It's no big deal. Actually didn't really make a mess or anything. I guess my neighbor's gardener showed up. They're mowing their yard in the background. You can hear the noise, so we're just going to have to bear with it because I don't want to shoot this all over again. So let's go ahead and stop that guy right there. Let me show you guys the next video. Alrighty, so we're just goofing around there, but those are the actual plugs, styrene, I call them plugs or inserts that I use and cut out to fill in the hole where the dual headlight housing used to be. I got it the correct height so it could match the rest of the sheet metal on the cab. All you need is the correct piece of styrene. Something to cut it with. Scissors are good too. A basic sanding stick. And there's your little plug right there that I pointed to. And there you can see the round end that's going to insert where the opening used to be on the cab. So no big deal. Nothing expensive. Of course, your Tamiya glue. So let me stop it right there. So if I can do it, you can do it. And if I can do it using the most basic components you have in your shop in terms of tools and stuff, you can also. Um, I didn't discover anything new here. Other modelers have been doing this for years and years and years. I'm just filming the process, how I go along to kind of help all of us, including myself, to lose any apprehension in terms of cutting into these guys here. But there's the actual plug I glued in place. It's a tight fit. And then back here on the side, we'll sand all that. No need to use filler back here because this is a round portion here. We'll just sand the plastic part to match. It's self-explanatory. Once you start filing it, sanding it, you'll see what you got to do. And you'll proceed accordingly. I have no idea what else I'm going to show you guys. I think we're going to glue one of those plugs in right now, live on YouTube TV for you guys. Just to show you, no big deal. So it fits in there perfect. Held it with my thumb. I usually don't do it this way, but because I'm filming, well, it cut off right there. But you saw how I hit the ends and the gaps. And basically, it's that simple. It's no big deal. Let's look for another tape. There's only a couple more. They're pretty quick. I have no idea what we're going to see right here, but let's watch it together. Once again, me goofing around. See if I can make that bigger. Actually, this video should have went before the one we just saw. Once I'm done sanding and cutting off those headlight housing, this is how it looks. Like I said, there's no opening see-through hole. There's actually styrene in back of there, which you're going to use to our advantage. What I did with our cab, I didn't show you, is inside I got real thin styrene sheets, and I reinforced where the opening were. These, I won't call them openings, but these areas, I reinforced them with styrene sheets, so I wouldn't be like Jim Morrison in the Doors. I didn't want to break on through to the other side, so I put that in back of there in case I am sanding too much or drilling too much. There'll be some extra meat back there to hopefully help me out and not break through the model where then I gotta go back and rework and refill and do all the body work to repair that. This just, once again, forward thinking, put some extra meat back there in terms of styrene, so just in case we won't have to lose time because I poked right through by accident. Let's keep going. There's our plug for the box step on each side over the wheel well. There's that opening I had to address for the driver's blind spot window, and there's a plug I use for that. Real basic, simple stuff. Nothing fancy, no high-tech stuff. Like they say in Spanish, nada del otro mundo. In other words, nothing from another world. All basic, simple stuff. Okay, I think I got one final quickie video. Here what I did is I used overhead light to show you the effect of and help me in terms of sanding. Let's go back and do that again. Something I always like to use, something I always like to say when sanding or trying to figure out shadows and weathering and stuff like that, I always like to use the term light is your friend. So in this case, as I move the light over the model, you're going to start seeing the front of the cab shine, and that tells me that my sanding job is completely smooth. No rivet belt lines left over, no odd shapes one side higher than the other. Everything came out uniform, and that's using that light technique. When in doubt, light is your friend. Nothing fancy, it's stuff artists have been doing for eons. And pretty much I think we're done. I'm going to do a part 2. I want to talk about another big problem I bumped into that we're going to have to address, and I'm going to share that with you guys in part 2. Thank you for joining me on this one, part 1. But there you go. Nothing crazy, nothing out of this world. Simple basic tools and techniques. Just requires you sitting down with your cup of coffee and using that patience that we know we all have because we're scale model builders. Okay, I'll stop talking. I'll shut this off here in a few minutes. You guys go ahead. If you want to check those out closely, I'll leave the camera on running just like it's doing now. See you in part 2.